Welcome to Wisdom Within with Tina and Tanya. Tina and I have been participating. We are teaching a group of Reiki students, and so we are swimming in Reiki and energy healing. So we wanted to bring that to you today. So make sure you stay tuned to this whole episode. We're going to be really talking about Reiki specifically, but also a general information of energy healing. So you'll want to stay tuned through the whole thing. So if you are done conforming to others' expectations and you're done suppressing your wants and needs and feeling like life has no meaning, and you're ready to really build a supportive relationship with yourself, addressing resentments and disappointments that have come from suppressing your needs and wants, you're ready to transform your life from the inside out, then you're in the right place. We are going to teach you how to do this by using practices that will support you mind, body, spirit. And I know for both of us, one of those practices that we love is Reiki and energy healing. So with that, Tina, will you help us get kind of settled in the moment?
Yeah, I'm just burning a little bit of sage here, which is my favorite. I know you like this stuff too.
I do. I do.
Hey, let's go ahead and take a minute and just deep breath in. Close your eyes. Another deep breath in, just allowing yourself to come back to center, allowing yourself to be in your chair, your seat, your body right now, right here. Another deep breath in. Allowing yourself to ground down to Mother Earth. Just come in. All right, go ahead and you can open your eyes.
Thank you. All right. So to kick this off, what if we talk about energy work and energy healing in general, just to kind of explain the concept? Does that
So
sound good to you?
that works. So energy work. Um, Reiki is actually a form, it's a hands-on technique that actually helps to bring in um, calmness and healing and all the things. So it's a form of energy work, and there's many different ways that people do energy work. And you don't have to be a Reiki person to do energy work, but the Reiki helps to channel that energy a little bit in a stronger fashion. So it's a like I said, a hands-on form of healing. And I'm trying to think of all of the things that I know about Reiki, but right now my brain is kind of
It's like
stopping
there's
me
too
for
much.
1 second here.
Well, I think one thing to remember when we're talking about energy and energy healing is where's this energy coming from? What's going on? And there's, I believe, a couple different ways in which we might need to do some energy work on ourselves and or for others. So, for example, we've talked about this in our we have a previous video that we'll link in the description about energy and keeping ourselves clear of energy. But one thing that can happen is if we have a situation where it's heavy for us, it's very stressful, it's a lot of emotion, we've got a lot invested in this, and we're just kind of in that feeling of struggle or challenge or all the things that come with it, right? Emotional disruption. We create a lot of energy. That's energy in motion is emotion. And so we create a lot within us and within ourselves that can really kind of create almost an imbalance in our energy field, whether it's within or even our auric field, which is a little just slightly outside of us. And so that's one way where we need to clear that out, to do some healing work, to rebalance and realign with ourselves. So that's one way that maybe we have an abundance of energy, or I don't ever want to say good, bad. It's just an excess, maybe, or an imbalance. And then another way that we can have some of that is if we receive or bring in energy from others, whether it's people that we know or, someone at the store that we just cross paths with. We pick up their energy, and we talked about that in that previous video as well. So sometimes this energy work that we need to do can be managing our own that we have built up, and then also helping us to release what is not ours or what is not of our greatest and highest good. And that's where those are the two that kind of came to mind for me. But really bringing in Reiki is my go-to with that. And like you said, there's other ways and other things people can do. If you don't have Reiki, that's fine. You can still do energy clearing. We talked about that in that video as well. So I think we've got a lot of good resources for people to be able to reference how to do that. Um, and then just really kind of focusing on what Reiki is and how we use it. Um, like you said, it's life force energy. It's bringing in the energy of the land, the trees, the waters, the what's in the air, the atmosphere. There's energy. And it's just being able to channel that, to use that, to bring that in to help us and assist us in that healing. Is that kind of a general gist that you would agree with?
Yeah. And so everything is energy, right? So, I mean, if you look at when you go into quantum physics, which I don't know a ton about, but I read a little bit here and there, and they talk about how everything is energy. I mean, you know, your tables have energy, your furniture has energy. Everything is, in our lives is energy. So as what you were talking about with picking up energy from other people, or it's that it's not tangible. It's something that we we don't a lot of times feel, or we don't know. Some of us can feel energy in a stronger way. Some people see energy, but so everything is energy. And what Reiki does is it is a technique to help with, any really what they call it is a technique for relaxation, right? So it's, but it does help with your body to um, start healing different things, and it helps your body to start coming back into that state of homeostasis, basically. And so it's um, and basically what it is just kind of like you said, channeling that energy through my body into you, and that
Mhm.
energy will run in, or will run, it goes to where it needs to go, and it helps your body to start um, clearing the energy, or those things that you've picked up, or stagnant energy, or things that are blocking you. Different, there's all different things that Reiki can do, and it does help with. I don't know if I kind of got off there for a second. So I went off. I'm trying to stay on task.
It's easier said than done. We can go off on all these little tangents. Um, but one thing that I heard you say that I was kind of picked up on with that was that it like Reiki goes where it needs to go. And I know that typically in a Reiki session, we can do one of two things, and that is like send it where it needs to go, or we can come in with an intention. How do you do your sessions? Do you usually have an intention, or is it just kind of guided
So
wherever
it
it needs to
depends.
go?
Yeah, it depends on the person too. So when I get somebody on my table, it depends on what if they have. So typically when I start a session, I talk to a person about what's going on with them, what are, if they've ever had sessions before. Um, and then once they, get on the table, it depends if they have something specific that they want to work on, then I use that intention to start to work on that specific issue. If they don't have something specific, then I go through a set of hand placements that I use and follow my intuition as I'm going through the session.
Mhm. I do the same. And sometimes I'm looking for, as we're having that discussion, I'm looking sometimes even for what's not being said. Like
Hmm.
that's one of my favorite things to do as well is, or I'm looking for the deeper meaning because, I love the depths.
Right?
But, sometimes it's like, sometimes it's hard to just to explain what's going on. I feel like a hot mess. Okay, is it a physical sensation? Is there nervousness? Is it heart flutters? What's going on with that? Or is it my mind won't quit racing? I can't get the negative thoughts to stop or whatever, and just kind of like looking at some of that. Um, that for me sometimes will determine how much time I spend where. Maybe I'll put a little extra time. If it's a thought thing, I'm going to put more extra time with my hands up here. If there's some fluttering and stuff going on, extra time with my hands here and just kind of following my intuition, going where I feel guided to go. But so I think it can be an intent, like I've got this going on, I want to work on this specifically, or I don't really know what's going on. I just want things cleared because I feel out of sorts.
Hmm.
Um, and then even things like pain. If there's something going on in a specific part of your body that's causing you pain, we can spend extra time in that and in that space as well to really um, help with relaxation, help your body do what it knows to do, and help really clearing that energy in that space for to really support your health in all levels.
Right. And I feel like that most of the people that come and see me don't know what's going on. They really have no idea. They just want to feel better. And so then that's when I'll just go through and do my placements, or hand placements, or drumming. I include other things along with the Reiki session. And yeah, so just
And one thing I love about the energy too is we can set the intention. But I always love to leave it open for the greatest and highest good
mhm,
of each client. I know you do that too. And and I believe that is what when we're talking about like it's going to go where it's going to go. I mean, I love to be able to do the hand placements and I like to be able to glean information from the whole session. But I also know that and trust that it's going where it needs to go and it's doing what it needs to do. So I've had clients before where maybe I've been down at their feet and they thought I was up here. So I just, that's where I'm like, you know what? It's doing exactly what it needs. And just being able to kind of put that trust in that. But that being said, sometimes the intention that we come in with isn't always what we walk out with, right? And
mhm,
so for me, I know for me, a lot of times I have clients who come to me for one reason, and then in our discussion, we actually uncover a totally different reason as to why they're
mhm,
really there. And we do that even in discussion. So, of course, the energy is going to potentially do the same thing as well.
right. Yeah, I agree. So when you're doing a session, what does a session look like? Because I know people were talking about this and people are probably like, what the heck?
What the
What
heck?
what do you even do?
Yep.
What do you even do in a session?
Yep. So in person and distance are two different things, and let's start with in person. Because I know you and I do very different, our sessions look very different.
Mhm.
So when I have a nice massage table, um, covered in blankets and pillows. So people just get to lay down, get cozy, cover themselves with a blanket if they want. Um, and I always start at the head. I'm very, very methodical in my sessions. And that is really fun with how the way my mind works. And I see patterns, I do all kinds of stuff. So for me, it works best. I start and I just have like I do hand placements. So it's actually on the head, it's on the brow. Sometimes it's around the ears, close to the neck. So I have my hands that just go through and I go in order. And I'm doing, we always carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. So I'm catching shoulders, elbows, all the things. And just light touch, very light hand placements as I go down the body. And then once I've kind of covered the entire body, I do a scan to see, is there more? Is there something I missed? Do I need to give it a little extra time? How does it feel? And often I'm asking the client that as well. And then I kind of do like a sealing, and then I use crystals to kind of seal in the healing. So it's about 45 minutes with the actual energy work, and then 15 minutes. I book hour-long sessions so we can chat a little bit about what came up. Um, and when I talk about what came up, sometimes for me, it's like, I get little intuitive hits, so it's all intuitive based, and sometimes I'm, maybe here and for some reason I can't move. Like I go to move on and it's like I just feel no, my hands need to stay here. I feel stuck. And so I don't feel stuck, but I feel like I need to spend extra time there. And so I'm just sending extra energy. We're spending a little extra time there. Sometimes I find out a little bit about what that is, but sometimes I don't, so occasionally I'll have, especially with women, I feel like we have a lot of throat. Our voice has been suppressed so much. So sometimes, like an example would be if I'm spending extra time here, and then as I go down and now I'm here, I'm like, okay, this is your power center. This is where self-confidence is. So there can be a connection between throat and power, right? And so we'll have conversations around that based on what's coming up. Have you been expressing your voice, using your words, saying what you need to say? Are you suppressing that? What's going on? And kind of having that conversation with the client afterwards. Because as I went down, it's like I get little clues, right? So it's like, okay, this is something's going on here. And then I might get to the heart and I'm like, oh, okay, these are connected. Or I might get to this area. Okay, these are connected. So those are just little things that I pick up. In that way, and then we can talk about it, which it's just, I don't know, those are the fun things for me. I'm like, ooh, it's a puzzle.
And you're a coach, so you
Yes,
tend to pick up a lot of that.
right. And I think that's important to kind of distinguish as well, because not all Reiki practitioners have other modalities or things that they do, so I do coaching, I do life and health coaching, I do human design, so I've got a lot of things there, and I know that you do that as well. um, So we might be able to pick up on things like that or actually do coaching and practices in addition. Um, so that may not be what you get every time you go to have a Reiki session done.
Reiki, yeah.
Mhm. So what do
So
yours
for
look
me,
like?
yeah, for me, I actually do very similar with the hand placements and things, but um, one thing I do want to make make perfectly clear is that when you're getting on the table, you're fully clothed.
Oh,
You
yes.
are, it's not a massage. It's not. I've had. I used to have people, messaging me and want a session. And I'm like, do you have any idea what it is? And they're like, well, they think it's a massage, or they think I'm, going to be. And I'm like, no, it's not a massage. It's we're just it's light touch on your body. So for my sessions, you just, you'll lay on the table and well, we have a discussion at first and, talk about what's going on with you. I usually have them fill out a form when they book a session with me. So they fill out a form that tells them, um, or tells me kind of what they're going through and and if they like touch, if they are okay with touch, because some people are not okay with touch, and if they are okay with smells, because like with sage, some people are allergic to sage, some people are allergic to some of the essential oils, so sometimes I'll use essential oils on my hands to kind of help them with whatever, if they're having a lot of anxiety or different things, if I have that an essential oil to help. But I do the same thing with the placements. I start in the head or on the head and go down. And as I'm going down, I'm very similar to you, just trying to I pick up these intuitive hits and, different things like that. I tend to use the drum. So my sessions are about 45 minutes too, and I always book an hour. But like the last 10 minutes of the session, I use the drum to really help to clear. And so, and I always, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time I use the drum. If somebody doesn't want the drum, if they don't want, that, because it can get kind of intense. But so yeah, I use the drum. Um, and then afterwards we'll discuss what, you know, things that came up, if they have any questions, if they have anything that came up, if I have sometimes uh, um there are times when you don't, when the intuitive hits you get, I don't share all the time, only because um I wait for them to ask me a lot of times. But other than that, yeah. So we'll just kind of discuss how things went and what's going on with them, and maybe give them some tips, or and usually suggest to drink a lot of water afterwards, and
All those
all
all
those
those
things. Yeah,
clearing things. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So we mentioned a little bit about like this is when we have people who live in our area or come to see us and they're here in person, but we also mentioned a little bit about distance. Um, so let's talk about what that is. Like what is how does that work? And what do distance sessions look like? Because I know for me they look very different than in person.
Mhm.
And maybe even why people would want a distance session, even if they live nearby. Um, so let's talk a little bit about how energy healing works distantly.
So it's kind of like your cell phone. We don't see it, right? But I dial the number and it comes right to you, right? So it's intention. So I'm intentionally sending energy to you, and sometimes you can feel it. I know I've had several sessions where I get, they're like, whoa, I feel that energy. Um, and sometimes you don't feel it, but it is coming right straight to you. Um, I don't, what are your thoughts on that? I'm trying to think, because you asked, how does it work? I want to say, how does it work? That's it. Let's stop there, and you
Uh-huh.
you
Well, I
give
think
me.
that's, but I think that's important because you're not required to be in the same room. Like even us sitting here, we're several hours away from each other as we're doing this call, and we can still connect with each other. We can connect with that energy. Had we shown up in a bad mood, we would have felt that in the beginning of that call. And so, um, it's just an understanding that energy is not confined by the walls. It's not confined by the car or the town. And I love the way you
The
described it with the
distance.
cell phone. And
Mhm.
that's what we do in our sessions, right? We have this specific client that we're working with, and it's like we have their cell phone number. This is who I'm connecting with. This is what we're doing, and we're setting the intention to send energy to them, just as if we were setting the intention to place a phone call with them. And communicating over distance with the, you know, same things that we can't see. I
Mhm.
mean, right now my laptop is plugged into Wi-Fi. It doesn't have a wire on it. I can't see a physical connection, and yet here it is. So some of it for me with the energy is I know it, but I can't see it. I can't taste it. I can't touch it or smell it. It's just it's working. And that's
Mhm.
for me a lot of what I notice within my distance energy sessions as well.
Yeah.
So if you do have someone who books with you with like a distance session, do you have specific practices that you do with that?
So with it, I would, so I have, my ideal way would be to get on a Zoom call, and then they could lay down and relax, and shut off their camera during the session, and I would just do the session. And then we could just talk back and forth. If so, one thing, I'm not much of a talker when I'm doing my sessions, but people sometimes do have questions, and if things come up or whatever. So ideally, that's what I'd like. I can do them even over a phone call if you wanted to do that. I prefer to have somebody who knows that I'm doing it right at that certain time. Now I know we have a friend who she's like, I can just do it whenever You can be driving, you can do whatever, you know. For me, I prefer to know that they are laying down, that they are relaxing, that they are um, in that mindset of accepting, and then I can send that energy to them. And I have different ways of doing it. In this way, you know, it's all just sending it virtually. So, you know, you're
Mhm.
just kind of just sending it. That we do have different practices that we can use. There's uh, even just kind of visualizing holding them in your hand, but you know, you can do that. But so yeah, there are different ways. I can do it um, without any phone calls, without anything. If somebody um, can't get on a phone call or whatever, I can say, okay, at this time, I will do the session for you. And then, you know, do it and then send them a message or something, say we're
Mhm.
done, you know, and then
Mhm.
ask if they have any questions.
That's basically identical to what I do as
Oh,
well.
really?
Uh-huh. I mean, I'm sure like what we do in the practice is
Yeah.
different, but I just like you, I prefer the Zoom, and killing our cameras is fine and even the microphones, but just um I love to have us both in that container of we're both setting this intention at the same time. I'm sending, you're receiving. I kind of set a stage, and basically I don't care if you fall asleep, it's completely fine. You know, you can fall asleep on my table just or
Yeah,
whatever. And
exactly.
so
Yep.
but it's just so yeah, mine's very similar in that way. And I've actually had some who have said, if I know when you're doing it, I'm afraid I'm going to block it. So I want you to do it and let me know. And that's not common.
Mhm.
Um, but I've done that a few times as well when, I'll send it early in the morning or late at night when,
Mhm.
just to kind of help just to help if needed. Um, so I do love to be able to talk about some of the benefits of Reiki. Like, why would you want it? What would it help with? Kind of like even some clues as to maybe it's time for a Reiki session or it's time for me to try. What are some things that you think of with that? Or what do people go to you for, maybe?
So yeah, it's kind of funny because I find that a lot of people come to me for anxiety. Anxiety and pain seem to be like the main things that they'll come to me. They're really just kind of like a hot mess, you know. Um, and I feel like I know that Reiki can help with all of that. It can help with the anxious feelings. It can help to um, clear your clear your mind. It can help with the calming. It can help with um, it. I'm just as I'm saying this, I'm thinking that well, that's me. People come to me because of I go through the anxiety.
I just had a light bulb moment for myself. I'll share in a minute when you said that. I was like, oh, yeah.
Because we do, you know, it does help with it helps with anxiety. It helps with all of the things. So and you can and there are so many things it people can it helps with I mean everything from anxiety, pain, um I don't know. There's just like it's you know, there's just so much
Well, and Reiki works on all the levels, right? So it works
uh
on the physical level, the
physical.
mental, the emotional, the
Yeah.
spiritual. It helps heal all of that. And it works on the subconscious level as well. Um, so really there's nothing that you can't take to Reiki, right?
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, you and I both have people that kind of are drawn to us for one reason or another.
Right.
I know for me, a lot of times, not with all my clients, but with many clients, they come to me for like they feel internal chaos, like just a hot mess, like what you were saying, but they've got a lot going on. And so there's stress, there's overwhelm, there's resentment, there's discouragement, there's that feeling. I don't even
Mhm.
know. What do you call that?
Right.
That's what it is. But they have a lot of that going on and they just want some relief from that. They need release from that. But it's interesting because in the majority of the conversations that I have with people coming to me, there's an underlying theme, I would say, of childhood trauma,
Mhm.
toxic adult relationships, maybe married to a narcissist or a narcissistic parent or something that has done a lot of, uh, I don't want to say damage, but I don't have another word, something that has affected them quite profoundly. Um, and then even with the work I'm doing ancestrally, that I don't really have a lot of people come to me, but we work on that level as well because that's what I love.
Mhm.
But it's always interesting to see how someone will come in because maybe they're working on healing from surgery, and then we have a conversation about a previous marriage.
Mhm.
And so interesting to me how that kind of plays out, like what you were saying, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's me too. Like, here we
Yeah.
go. So I do think that that's an important way of choosing a practitioner is who is it that you connect with? And maybe they connect with some of your story, maybe they connect with some of my story. Um, but I also think like when I think of myself and why I reach out, even in the past before I was a practitioner, but even now, it's shifted a little bit. So before I would wait until I had so much inner turmoil and I just felt like I was going to explode. Like I just had so much. And it was interesting because it wasn't like I had a big event, right? It wasn't like some big upset had happened in my life, but I had all these little things that were adding up and it was just too much and it was overwhelming. And I was like, oh, yeah, there's energy people. I didn't even know what they were called. And so I would go and I just knew that that would help. And it always made me feel better. Um, I always waited too long to go. Like I waited for it to build up. Now, um, I do healing on myself almost every single day. So it doesn't build up like it used to. But there are times where, I wake up and I'm like, or I'm having a conversation and I'm like, oh, I need to book a Reiki session. And even though I do this for myself every day and I can, sometimes I feel like it's beneficial to have another practitioner that I trust be able to help me with that because sometimes I get in my own way. And
Mhm.
so I can just be like, okay, it's my turn. I get to receive. So then I book that session. And I'm like that client that's saying, I don't know what I need. I just
Yep.
know I need it. So
Just do
just do it,
it.
do the thing. Sometimes it's in person, sometimes it's distant, sometimes but that's not what everybody does. That's just kind of like where I know where I'm at in the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, I do. I feel the same way. And we all need it, I think.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Well, and I think one other thing as well, this is a question that I have that comes up about having a Reiki session as well, is Reiki complements other things that you're doing. So it can
Mhm.
complement anything like a yoga practice that you have or eating healthy, whatever your goals are, it can really help complement that, but it can also help in the medical field. So it doesn't replace your treatment, but it can
Mhm.
actually help enhance that. And I know that there are many hospitals around the US even where they employ Reiki practitioners to be able to help and where they've done studies and shown that patients receiving Reiki actually have I don't know what all the studies exactly say, but they can tell there's a benefit to them they have a different experience, a more calm, relaxed experience or something in some way where it's actually benefiting them. So there's um, hospitals all over that have started to employ practitioners to be able to go in and provide Reiki for clients to help them through their treatment.
Right.
So um, I know sometimes people are a little bit worried about that. Like, is it going to interact with the medication I'm on or the treatment that I'm going through? And it's like, there's no harm that's going to come from that by any means. It's going to help enhance that. And in fact, this was interesting. I had a client who was participating in a scientific study and she couldn't do anything that would help heal because they were really trying to isolate what they were doing to watch the effects. So she was asking them, well, can I get a massage? Nope, you can't get a massage. She asked them, can I have a Reiki session? Nope, you can't do energy healing because they didn't want anything that was going to have an outside um, influence, I guess, on their study.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to keep it very, which makes sense. It's a scientific study. So they needed everything to be very consistent for, I don't even know what they were looking for. But the fact that she was flat out told, don't have a Reiki session in this window of time because we want our results to not be skewed. I'm like, hey, that's cool to
Wow.
me. So yeah, that was really awesome that she was
That's way cool.
expressly forbidden. Um, but it was in the name of science. It was not really for, if she was overcoming from something that
Yeah,
would have been a little different. But I thought that was really cool that that was the guidance she received for the study. So,
that's awesome. That's
hmm
way cool.
hmm
But and Reiki can be in conjunction with if you're doing other types of um and not just with medical, like if you want a foot zone, it can be, complementary for a foot zone. If you're a massage, it can complement, all those other types of things too. So it's not something that you would have to do exclusively. It's a good complementary practice too. So or
hmm
practice or um
Yeah.
yeah,
Habit,
it's good to
practice,
have yeah, it's good to
receive.
have Reiki
Mhm.
along with those other things too. Or
Yeah.
do Reiki do and like counseling. I know you've had people who are doing counseling that come to have Reiki sessions with you, and
hmm
so it's a good complement to tons of
hmm
other things that you're doing. So
hmm So on that topic, I like to look at how we can incorporate Reiki into our lives. I like to say how we swim in it.
hmm.
So if you're maybe thinking about becoming a practitioner or having it, what are some things that you would use it for? Or what would that help you decide if you wanted to receive it so you can do that or have that um, channeling capability, I guess is what I would say, for yourself?
So you can use Reiki for so many things. So like even just infusing your water with Reiki, Um so you infuse your water with it, or you infuse your food, you can Reiki your food. You can pets, our pets, they love Reiki. I used to when I was around the horses all the time, I would use when I first well, actually not when I first, but a couple of years ago, I was around horses quite a bit. And so I would go out and I would just give them Reiki, and they just would, they loved it. Um, you can use it for like self healing, like what you said. You can do your self healing. Um, I like to do that at night, and I think you do yours in the morning.
Hmm
But I like to lay down at night and just kind of help to calm me so that I can sleep, because I do deal with anxiety quite a bit, especially this time of the year always gets me. So,
It's the
but
season.
so yeah, so I use it that way. I use it for, with your friends and family. So especially like with your family, with kids, if you have little kids, you can use it for helping them with stress or anxiety, or just helping them sleep, or if they have an owie or whatever, you can help them with that. Um, yeah, I know you have like a whole list of things. I'm trying to think of all the things.
Oh,
You
I
can
swim
use
in
it
it.
for so many things. Yeah, it's like,
I, well, when I went through my Reiki 1 and 2 training, um, it was just almost it was a sacred experience for me. It was just, I was so ready. I was so excited. I binged learned, like I just absorbed this. And then true to form, a couple months down the road, I'm not using it like I did in the beginning. And I remember just having a moment where I'm like, what the hell? You know, I was like, this was such a big deal for you. And you're like, what are you doing? And so I set a intention for myself to do self healing every morning or at least daily. And sometimes it's 10 minutes to 20 minutes to however long it needs to be. But then I really just started playing with it. And I love to bring in that spirit of play because adulting is dumb.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
too serious.
I agree.
And so it was just like, oh, I can do Reiki here. Oh, I can add Reiki there. And I don't send it to other people because I don't have consent. That's a whole other thing.
Right.
But it's how can I involve it in my life every day? And just like you, my water, my coffee, my food, my bath water, my shower water, my pets. I know when I go to my boyfriend's house, he's jealous because his pets just all of a sudden gravitate to me. And he's like, what the heck? I'm chopped liver. And I'm like, I cheat. I use Reiki. And he knows they just love my energy. And yes, maybe some of that is me, but I do cheat. I do use Reiki on them quite a bit. And I see how much the animals respond to that. And then when they're done, they kind of shift a little bit, get maybe a little fidgety, and I'm like, okay, you're done. And so I don't overdo it with them either. Um, but even I will put Reiki into crystals that I have that I'm wanting to either clear them or program them to do something for me. Um, I will journal and use Reiki to help me unblock whatever or like see whatever may be blocking me. So I very much use it to help me with intentions. Um, I use it to help me with a struggle that I'm going through that I understand that there's a process I have to go through, but can it soften the edges for me a little bit, take off some of the bite? If I need to learn the lesson anyway, please show me the lesson and help me learn it more quickly. Um, and then even especially with my kids, like that, when my youngest was a little bit younger, oh, he just was like, can I have a session? Can I have send me this, send me this? And especially being able to send it through distance, it was very helpful because he would text me, I have anxiety, I have this going on. He's a kid, he's got all the things. And so, will you send me Reiki? And so I was sending for him. Now that he's a little older of a teenager, he doesn't really want to come to the office and, you know, do the full session. So and he doesn't slow down anymore. So
Mhm.
for him, it's more like I've got the permission to just send it whenever it feels needed. And so I do that for all of my kids with that as well. And so that's kind of what some of the ways in which I use it, but there's nothing that you can't bring it to. I can bring it to my card practice. I can bring it to my reading. I can bring it to,
Your
uh,
coaching.
yeah, I absolutely.
Mhm.
And I always set the space, even if I have a client because I do have some clients who are not as open to energy work, and
Mhm.
I'm totally respectful of that, but I want it for me.
Yep.
So I will cleanse my room, my office space, or if I'm here and I'm doing an online, I'll cleanse my space, I'll cleanse myself, and then I set that intention that the conversation between us is for their greatest and highest
Mhm.
good. So if it's helping me be on point more so, helping me be a little more tunnel vision focused instead of scattered, like all of those different things. I mean, there's so many ways that it has
Yeah.
benefited my life. Yeah, there's like, I'm grateful. I'm never giving this one up. Of all
Well,
the practices, this one's staying.
one thing I forgot to mention that I love to do is I go for walks quite a bit up here. And so um, I will go sit down by the spring. And I just did this recently. I sent you a message about this, sit down at the spring and just sent Reiki to the spring and just be like, ah. And it was so cool to hear it got louder to me. I was like, whoa, what the? Yeah. But yeah, I send Reiki that way or sending Reiki, you know, to the mountain as I'm walking, just like kind of, you know, sending it all out all around.
Mhm.
And I've done that several times up here, and I always, it's not, I don't do it on a regular basis, but I it's fun to do that here and there and just kind of be like, ah, and I feel like sometimes I'm like, why don't I do this more often? And
Mm-hmm.
so then I forget, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm going to send some Reiki today,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I do. And even as you're saying that, I'm thinking of all the different ways. There's just so many.
yeah.
And for
Yeah.
me, I think, like, what are the benefits? For me, it's, I mean, this guy, there's so many benefits. It's just like what I just listed and what you just
Mhm.
listed, but it's also a sense of peace. And, and I feel like in the last several, like, few years that I've had Reiki in my life and being and using it all the time, I feel like every day I become more and more confident in who I am. Um, I feel like it has helped me uncover things. I've had aha moments that have been very impactful. Maybe they would have come without, maybe they wouldn't have, I don't know. But I definitely feel like um, that it's really helped me feel safe in stepping into who I am. So there's been a lot of healing of the witch wound and healing of this life traumas and things that I've gone through. And I know I've done a lot of healing without it, but since I've had it, the exponential growth has been
Mhm.
like not even comparing. We had a really challenging moment last week in my little family, and the way I showed up for that, I've never been that girl that's been able to show up in that way before. And not going to say I handled it perfectly, but I mean, when I look back, I was like, holy cow, and even a few years ago, prior to Reiki, I wouldn't have shown up in that way. So it was very, um, just the level of personal growth that it can help, spiritual growth, showing up in a way that's authentic to you and your values and how you want to be, um, what you're willing to react to versus what you're not, like, or what's not true to you, I guess. And of course, we're still human. We do all those things. But
Mhm.
I mean, it was very profound, I would say, for me in that moment to just be like, holy shit. I didn't do this and I did do that. Wow. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just really cool. So I I understand that maybe it's not for everyone or that some people are drawn to different type of energy healing and Reiki's not one of them and that's fabulous too. But I don't know, I have a very strong connection and very strong love with this. That's
Mhm.
hard to describe.
Yeah, Reiki was a catalyst for a lot of healing for me too, and I've watched you change because I taught you the master class, right? And since then, I have watched huge shifts in you. So I've seen that, but it was like a major catalyst for healing for me, and still is. I mean, there's still. I'm not. I'm one of those that um, Reiki's not probably not. I don't even know. I don't know how to say it, but I use Reiki in a different way than a lot of people, or than Reiki master would. I guess I don't know. I think we all use it our own way, but I use it along with like because I have other um I don't I'm trying to say this in a way that people are going to be anyway. Um so after I had my Reiki classes, I was given bear energy and eagle energy, and those energies come in a lot for me now. And it's not just the Reiki energy that I use. It's not just because we have different ways of using it. And so for me, that's kind of how I incorporate it with um, the different, maybe in a more shamanic way.
hmm
And
Kind of
maybe
some of those
that's the
different
way to say it.
medicines. It's
Yeah,
another one
the
of the
different
medicines.
medicines. Yeah.
Hmm
So that's kind of how it works with me. So um but yeah. It does, it's very, for if you're going to, if you have, um, if you decide that you want to take a Reiki class, or if you decide that you want to bring this into your life, um, it is a catalyst for healing. And you have to, for me, I feel like you really need to work on healing yourself first, and then you can work on other people and help them. So that's kind of my idea on it.
Well, and I love that you said that because that's how we have structured our trainings. Like our Reiki
Mhm.
1 and Reiki 2 training isn't what I have experienced before. And I know it's not kind of the status quo, at least around here,
Mhm.
because we do have that focus where you get Reiki 1 and you allow it to do the work and you do the work on you for a solid 3 weeks before we do Reiki 2.
Right.
With the intention of swimming in it, feeling it, playing with it, just allowing your body to do its process and receive that healing um, before moving on and as well. So I love that you said that because that's very much aligned with how we teach
Teach
practitioners
it.
to, and I think to slow down, like we're not in a rush. It's not about hurry and hurry and hurry and get it. It's let's be intentional. Let's slow down. Let's allow yourself to enjoy this energy and enjoy this experience, or maybe don't enjoy the experience, depending on what happens, because there can be some uncomfortable things that can come from it.
Right.
But be in it, be in it, be present um, before we move on to the next phase. And so, like, I love that we've built that program around that as well with that intention because it is a healing journey.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And I feel like it is. Um, I have a strong feeling about that, and it's like something that we, and you and I have talked about that, and so, um, but if you're just go, if you just want to get a Reiki session, then it's different.
Yes.
It is healing, and it will help heal whatever is going on, but it is a little bit, it's different if you want to have just the session. So,
It is. And I have, when I look at clients, I've got some clients that come very regularly, at least on a monthly basis, sometimes a little bit more often. And I'm watching them transform before my eyes. I'm seeing how they were when they came in. I have one client that says she felt like she was shoved in the doorway because life, uh, life was happening to her. And whatever it was that led her to do this, to do this, to end up in my office. She said she felt like she was resisting it, but she felt shoved to move forward and do this. And the change I've seen in her in the last few weeks has just been, or a few months has been, I mean, it has been life changing for her. And it's been so awesome to watch her walk in. I remember one time just after a few sessions, and I was like, you're a whole new person. She's all,
mhm.
I know, I feel it. And that was so cool because not only was it something that I saw, which so often we see in others,
Yeah,
right? But for her to actually feel it within herself. And I mean, she was doing all the things. She was coming to Reiki, she was going to therapy, she was reaching out to a couple of other practitioners. Like we were all kind of working with her together. And holy cow, just the transformation in a relatively short amount of time has been beautiful.
yeah.
Um, and so and I think some for many people that's all they want, right? Is like I just want to have the session. I just want to have
Mhm.
you to help me. I don't want anything to do with it any other way. Totally awesome. We'll have links down below if you would like to book sessions with us. But if
Yeah.
you're also like, maybe I do want this in my life to be able to swim in it, like we've been talking about, then we'll have links down below of our upcoming trainings. You can get on a wait list if we don't have one available right away. We do both distance and in-person classes. So just depending on where
Mhm.
that is, we can keep you in the loop. So check the description for those links as well. Um,
Yes.
all right. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying yes.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, is there anything else that maybe I mean, there's so many things we can talk about with Reiki, but is there anything else that we maybe have missed?
No, I feel complete with it.
I do too. I mean, there's more that I would love to
I
just
know.
play
I mean,
in
we could
because
talk.
like I get
Well,
fired up.
yeah, the two of us can talk for hours anyway, and then we get on a subject that we enjoy, then we really can go for.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, no, I feel complete for this
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, just a quick reminder for our listeners. First of all, thank you so much for listening, for being here. And if you made it all the way to the end, I would love to know what your thoughts are on this conversation in the comments below. But then, as always, please like and subscribe and share. It really helps us get this word out to other people when you help with that. So, all the love we appreciate very much.
Yes, so much. Thank you.
Would you like to bring us back to the present, back
Yeah.
to reality?
Okay, close your eyes. Deep breath in. Allow yourself to come back into your body, feeling your body in the chair. Another deep breath in. Okay, you can open your eyes.
Awesome. Thank you. And
Yeah.
until next time.
See ya.